Hey everyone, in this video Byron sits down with Chris Baker from All Terrain Action to share their thoughts on the new BYD Shark. They dive into first impressions, real-world performance, and what this new 4x4 means for the future of off-road vehicles. They also react to two key videos. One from MadMat4WD, where he announces he's bought a Shark, and another detailed look at the Shark tackling Beer O'Clock Hill. Sit down and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I was looking at the video from last night. So I obviously saw on Monday, like I already kind of had an idea that he was getting a Shark, but I didn't realize it would just be full on like this.
How come? I was actually quite surprised that he actually got a Shark. I was a bit like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So do you know him? Or?
No, I don't really, like, we've talked in the past. So obviously you've seen the Commodore looking machine that we've got on the channel.
Yeah.
And I like to be a little bit different. So I've had that for nearly 8 years. And he's probably one of the only influencers that have kind of gone, yeah, right, it's weird, but it's cool. It's not stupid, I guess. And to that point, like, he kind of gained a little bit of my interest. I wouldn't say like respect from the start, but then over time, when I've watched a lot of his videos, I'm like, yeah, this guy is pretty open-minded, and he's looking at it more at a mechanical suitability than it is like what the vehicle really is. So that type of approach to me, his breakdown on analyzing, is what captured my interest about him. And since that point, I've always followed what he has to say and share. It's not to say I don't like other creators. It's just he's drawn my attention more than anyone. So it actually doesn't surprise me that he's looked at this and gone, EVs are kind of the future, whether we like it or not. And right now they're integrating into Australia in a way that a lot of people are trying to push back with, but they're here now. And I think that the series hybrid that the Shark has is kind of a good starting point. It's different, so it's not like your GWM Canon Alpha FEV that's coming, or your Ford Ranger FEV where they're parallel hybrid, but it's giving us two options, so we can look at what's available, what technologies are here, and what their suitability is. Because I agree with what a lot of people are saying. The Shark is not technically consumer off-road ready. Like, you own one, I own one. We've done some serious off-road stuff, and I think we both agree it's not consumer off-road ready yet. For proper forward driving, campsites, whatever.
I guess, like, you can say it's not ready for, I guess, like, depending on who's going to be buying this vehicle. I mean, you've got to remember, like, you've got your serious patrol owners, your serious, Land Cruiser fans. So it really depends on who you're trying to target, and who's BYD trying to target at the moment. So BYD have brought out a vehicle for a really, a very well price point. It's situated in the market for 60 grand drive away, with a tow bar at the moment. And I mean, it's a vehicle that I think has given everyone a little bit of everything. It's not, extraordinarily capable off-road, but then on-road, I think it's such a beautiful vehicle to drive daily. So, I mean, you might have a different view, compared to what I say, but my view is, how many people are going to take a brand new 60 grand HEV plug-in hybrid serious off-roading like Beer O'Clock Hill? There's you. There's me.
Do you know what? I'll tell you something. When I got the Shark, I was like, oh shit, I'm actually going to get it before a lot of other people. This is awesome. And I'm going to be able to experiment with this real quick before a lot of people can do it. But after I went straight out and I had this plan, go to Big Desert here in Victoria, take it to the high country, try it in mud, try in all these settings, try one of the iconic tracks here we got, just to see what happens. And it's like, this thing isn't a straight shooter. There's so many things about this vehicle that's really weird. So you can do touring tracks, no problem. It does not care. right?
I
But
agree.
then when you're looking at tracks where you're driving through, and I presume that this is the same across Australia, but when you're driving through like a state forest and you're like, that's not a normal track, but it looks fun, and you want to. I always end up driving past, and then my cogs start turning, and then I hit the brakes, and then then I back it up to go. No, I'm going to give that a go. And sometimes I got 6 or 7 people behind me, so we all have to reverse. It's really funny, but yeah, when you're talking about tracks like that, that's where the Shark is kind of a bit not really ready for yet. Depends on the driver. Like, I don't know what you drive. I have an idea if your videos are a reflection, but I'll just be like, I'll assess the track, I'll assess it and go, oh, this is interesting, but this is doable. Or I'll assess it and go, this is interesting, but it's iffy. And do we really want to spend the next like the whole day here? Because we don't know what's going to happen. You know, what's our objective? And then like we all agree, yeah, no, let's just do it. And then it surprises you. It's like, holy crap, how's it done that? Like it wouldn't climb a straight vertical where it loses a little bit of traction on the rear wheels and it just comes to a stop, but it'll do that. It doesn't make sense. There's no static rule. And I think that's one of the problems because you don't know what to expect out of it sometimes. But I've gotten to a point now where I can look and go, I know what I need to input. I kind of have an idea out of what mode I need to be in, and I just go and it does it. No doubts. Yep. I think if you doubt the vehicle and you pull back, like you don't really commit, that's where the problems start. And secretly, unconfirmed, but I think something to do with the rear motor overheat is tricking us. So we'll try a track to test it, to see what the Shark does. So we try and walk it, we try a little bit harder, and by the time we're at the point where we're ready for commit, it's like the rear motors just drop right back. Like it's like in like a fail-safe mode because it's no longer putting out the power it was doing at the very start. I don't know if you've noticed that. I have noticed that with mine.
I mean, after we spoke, that night after we got the software update and I went out and we did speak, and you did mention that I did do repeated runs. However, remember when I go forward driving, I sort of just see a hill and then I haven't been really trying to like crawl it, if you know what I mean. Sit there, crawl it, get to the point where I do get to the motor overheat. I sort of go, not full send, but I definitely am not crawling. Like I'm not, doing 2 kilometers an hour. I am, I am moving. So I think I get to the top of a hill and then I go and do the next hill. So I haven't had that overheating experience because I'm not doing that. And I'm not trying to replicate what I guess you guys have been doing where you guys have been hitting tracks, trying this, trying that, whereas most of the tracks I've done, I've got up. And I mean, we just did a trip with 4-wheel-drive TV and every other vehicle needed a diff lock to get up. And literally like front lift wheels, Prado nearly went over. Anyway, so, and then I just crawled it. But I kept like a nice, smooth, you know what I mean? Like I didn't... Constant. Yeah, just a nice constant speed. It wasn't flat to the floor. But saying that flat to the floor, and I mean, you probably would have noticed as well, when you go flat to the floor in it, if you get to a point where it's trying to figure it out, the traction control is trying to work out what's happening, you can stay into it, and then all of a sudden it'll have nothing, but then it'll come on again and start creeping, and it's breaking each individual wheel, and it feels like you're going to go backwards, and I think most people would panic and sort of jump on the brakes and then go, oh, it's not going anywhere. Whereas I sort of held into it like half throttle and just kept, and it just kept creeping. So I don't know. I think it's a very different vehicle to drive compared to like Tank 300, Tank 500, Canon Alpha, Canon normal, Canon. I mean, have you found that as well?
Well, so for me, because I'm an all-wheel drive experienced driver, so most of my off-roading experience in the adventure is basically no center diff lock. So permanent mechanical full-time forward drive to the ground. So whenever we break traction and the traction control can't hold it, I've always come to the point where I come off the accelerator onto the brakes to stop the wheel spinning to prevent things going bad. I've kind of got a discipline to kind of gradually apply torque, but enough torque to fight the gravity pulling me back, but enough to pull the vehicle forward and not break traction. So that's a discipline that I've just developed over the years, and I didn't realize I was actually getting this. I've chucked a lot of other forward drivers into my car that have wheeled for decades. They go nowhere because of this. They don't quite understand it. The Shark has a very similar principle, but when you get to the point where it's stopping, so you're like, I'm to the floor, but where's all my power going? And it's like the car doesn't want to deliver it. And it's like it's thinking, and if you just let it do its thing, like you said, it just starts to go again, like someone's turning up the power somewhere. Yeah. And it's almost like once the car figures out it's moving forward, like 1 kilometer an hour forward, the magic just starts happening and it just starts going. And the weird thing is the amount of dust it spits up compared to all the other cars that were open diff or just a rear diff lock and front open. It's crazy. Like, we're so clean on the track. It looks so controlled, even though all I've done is put my foot to the ground and patiently waited for the car to figure out what's going on. So I have also noticed if you get to a point, though, where it stops and you're waiting like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and it's doing nothing, I notice if you tap the brake while you're still foot to the ground, all the wheels just turn. And if it grabs traction at that moment, it just starts going forward. It's weird. I don't know.
So a bit of a brake and it goes forward.
Yeah, it's like it goes, because in the traction control systems, it's generally programmed in most vehicles that if you have any brake input, it cancels out the traction control system. That's logic in programming. The Shark seems to follow a similar discipline, but it's almost like nah, let's do something because the driver's telling me he wants power. So let's just ignore what logic says and let's let the wheel spin for a moment. But it's not a really long spin. And I think what they need to do is allow you to go on it, let it spin continually if the driver wants till it finds its traction. Because you know how you're doing your left and right steer, you're trying to find something to bite onto. You can't continually keep tapping the brakes to find that. Because if you keep tapping it, it seems to keep letting it spin. But there has been scenarios where I've done that and I don't think it's helped at all. It's just 1/8 spin and it's done nothing. Like, it gives me nothing. So I then started applying the brake. So when I read the track and I'm like, oh, it's about to get a vertical here and I reckon the car's going to want to pull power back, I'll just left foot tap on the brake, like just rest my foot on the brake, not to actually apply brake, but just to signal my foot's on it to the car. And it's like the car doesn't fully pull the power back. It still does, but nowhere near what it does when it's still thinking, trying to determine what the traction surface is like. Don't know if that's by design, but that's something interesting I noticed and something we needed for Dingo Hill in the Victoria High Country. So it's it's a continual climb at 30 to 35 degrees, and then you get to a washout, another climb, and then you got switchbacks, one after another, and then another climb. Like, the Addy was copping it. It was getting temp overheats majority of the way up from the transmission. But I think without that logic, if I hadn't known of that logic, I would have been at the bottom of Dingo Hill going, guys, this car's not going to do this. So if I didn't learn that in all the weeks that we went out kind of practicing or learning the car, we would have been stuck. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to Matt at Beer O'Clock. I think you're a forward driver that's been wheeling for years. You're used to systems. Like, things become automatic to you. You don't realize you're doing something. Like, for me, sometimes it's me actually coming for the handbrake. One of the tricks we do in the adventure is actually just click the handbrakes up to bind up the true track to get them engaging. And I do that without realizing. Like, I've done it and then go edit my videos and like, oh, I actually did that on that hill. I didn't even realize. These things have just happened. And I think when you've got the Shark beneath you and you've got your steering wheel, you've got no manual gears, you've got drive, a whole lot of buttons and digital swipes on the screen, you're like, I don't even know what to do next. Like, it's not doing what I'm telling it to do. My natural thing is to put my foot down and we go and we wheel spin. But I'm not even getting wheel spin and my foot's down. This doesn't make sense. And he even says, like, he's hearing the engine go on and off and on and off. And it's like, that doesn't make sense to him. Why is it doing this, but we're not moving, you know? Yeah, it's weird. I think it's just a different way of wheeling. Whether or not it's intended or not by BYD, I don't know. And whether it's designed that way, I don't know. That's what I don't quite understand, without having someone officially come in and say, this is the reason why all these things happen. Yeah.
I mean, it is a very different car to wheel in. And I've wheeled in it a few times now, but I mean, I think it does some things easier than other vehicles, and then struggles on the vertical inclines. Like, you know what I mean? With that, I don't know if it's a torque limit or what it is, but yeah, like if you do stop on a hill, it definitely just sort of, when you go from brake to accelerated go again, it just doesn't go. You know what I mean? It just sits there and sort of.
Yeah, like where's my 300 kilowatts of power?
Yeah, it just goes nothing. But then like you sort of come back. Yeah, so like I guess if you're trying to get up a ledge or something without bumping it, then in a normal car you could sort of like sit there and bump it, dump your clutch, whatever you're doing. You're in low range, so you got lockers. You can sort of gradually climb and then find traction and then get up the ledge. But in this car, you sort of go thing and it's just nothing.
Have you come to a situation where you've just tried walking it at a constant speed and then you can feel it pulling away the power because you got some slip going on, and then it comes to a complete stop? You roll back maybe half a wheel turn and then just drop your foot to the ground, and even though it doesn't just take off, but you've just given it, I want as much as you give me, it'll break past that point that it struggled to.
No, I've done that.
Yeah. See, this is where I see my problem is I've never wheeled in Queensland, so I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's like a common type of obstacle that you face over there that we face here. Like we seem to find really constant rocky tracks that you have to pick lines constantly climbing, and if you don't, if you don't, unless you got lockers and your live axle, you just go straight in through the middle. But otherwise, and I think with the Shark, as you're line picking, you're kind of visioning where the wheels are because we don't have much wheel travel as well. That's the next problem.
That's the next.
If you can preempt where the vehicle's probably going to struggle and you do put the power on, that's where we're making it look easy. It's like we're pointing steering almost when we're really not. There's a little bit of stuff going on at the pedal point. If the track's flat, you just power on. That's not an issue. But it's the rocky stuff where you don't want to do come in on the approach really badly and damage the front, or you don't want to get a big rock going through underneath where the battery is. That's where I'm finding
like they did on Hill.
That's interesting. Just come spitting out the bottom there. That sounded terrible, by the way. But I had a lot of that in the high country on Dingo Hill. So there was, like, you should see my exhaust. So the exhaust that runs across the back that way?
Yeah.
It's got like a massive dent in it already. And I know exactly where I would have done it too because I was filming and you can see the inside camera where we're in motion. Traction control's kicking in. I finally get traction. I go and it's just a thud and the whole thing just shakes like that. And I'm like, yeah, that was solid. Whatever I hit.
Have you? Yeah. You haven't had yours in much water yet, have you?
No, we don't have a lot of water here in summer. We just don't. Yeah.
I sort of, on the trip, I sort of got distracted and everyone was having lunch, and then I just drove it into the creek.
Yeah.
Just to see what happened, and I mean the water came into my tub and everything, and I got out and it was fine, and I'm still driving it. So everyone that thinks that the water's going to affect it, I don't know. It's sealed. Obviously the ventilation for the battery is good. So I have read about it, how it works.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So because I know a lot of people have been questioning, but what's going to happen when you go in water? Is it just going to catch fire and go up like
fire?
Like,
Robert Pepper told me, I was talking to him about the battery thing, and he's saying EVs and batteries off-road, like in water, that problem's been solved a long time ago. Just forget it.
Look at the U8.
Yeah, it's not even it.
I saw the U8 literally in China in front of my eyes in 2 meter or 1.9 meter fish tank just swimming around. So
that's pretty cool. I mean, these are gimmicky things that are like cool to watch, but you kind of think to yourself, very, very rare use case, but I can see where I would just have fun doing this because I can do it and the other cars can't. Look, I don't know where my next tackle is. That's the thing. Like what thing I want to do next, because there's not really much after. Like right now, I would normally just go mod the crap out of it and start self-modifying and figuring out where the weaknesses are and getting around it. But because there's nothing on the market and I don't really want to start doing my own thing with it, I'm now waiting. So it's really good that Matt actually came along and tried Beer O'Clock Hill. I've seen the video. I've never seen the hill, so now I want to see if I can get another meter further than he got.
You will see it.
And
I don't think anyone realizes how big it is.
Yeah, I can respect how steep it probably is just from watching all these other people do it over the last few years. And I think I'm going to break something potentially. So my plan is I'm going to head up to the Springs. That's definitely happening very soon now. And I mean, I was speaking to you the other night, and you were like, "Yeah, I don't think it's going to go up it." I remember you saying that before we even knew Matt was going to try it, and I just thought, "Yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Not going to waste 8 days to do a round trip and then go all the way up to Queensland and give this a go." And then I seen Matt doing. I'm like, the utter confusion that he has is making me wonder if there's anything that I now know about the Shark that I can apply, and how much further can I go than that? Because I'm in agreement. It's not going to, when it gets to the super vertical, there's no way, unless I'm willing to take out my front end on the way up at a risk to be traveling at that 20k an hour speed, which isn't the right way to wheel those type of tracks. But is there a trick, these little tricks that we've just talked about, that I can implement and get to the next stage? Well, where do you think it's going to go? Like, you've obviously seen a little bit of my wheeling. Where do you think you'd get in your Shark? Do you reckon you'd get to the Superior?
I think with really low tire pressures and grippy and a little bit more speed, you might be able to get there. But then saying that, there is massive, big, the holes are pretty big for the Shark because the travel is average. So I think we're going to struggle there. But I guess
be honest, like we're going to have people watching this going, these guys are cooked. Like we're
both going to go and try it. So I'll be there, you'll be there, and we're going to send it. So
okay.
Hopefully we've got our new suspension in, which we've added a little bit more droop as well. So, we should hopefully be able to get more traction, but we're still limited at the moment.
That's actually going to be a really good thing, because if you do have your new suspension that you got coming into market and you have that on your vehicle and I'm stock standard, and we can get a variance of difference between our climbs.
Yeah.
That's a huge plus. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone's like, oh, the thing's crap. This is bad. That's bad. But what they don't realize is, I think the reason why Matt went and did this out of the showroom, 500 Ks later, he's down at Beer O'Clock Hill, is to set a baseline. We all have to start somewhere. We need something to base modifications off for the Shark. And he's set that. So now he's gone. That's where it gets to on road tires out of factory. I'm going to come in with all-terrains. You're going to come in with, you got muddies on yours, haven't you?
It depends what I run. I'll probably just run my razors with my Maxxis razors.
Yeah, okay. And then you've got and then you've got your aftermarket suspension, which is, as you're saying, if it adds a little bit of travel, it could be that little bit extra that we need. So that's going to be a good video. Yeah, it will be interesting. Of what do you think's going to break? If something's going to break, what do you think it's going to be?
Front CV.
Okay, I got one CV of each one with me coming with me to Queensland. I haven't ordered
it yet, but we need to make some chrome molly, new drive shafts with a better angle. So I haven't bought a pair yet, but you told me to buy a pair, and I just haven't had a chance. So I might go to BYD tomorrow and buy some spare ones if they got any left, and take some with me too.
Yeah. Well, look, if we both do a CV, then we're in trouble, because that says something. Oh.
I don't think the rear will break. It doesn't have enough drive. It doesn't have enough drive to break it.
Hasn't got that snap torque on the rear. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it hasn't got the grab, the spin. I just don't.
No, it holds it there, just sort of like
Yeah, it's so gentle. Like it's, like it
But
is. It feels front wheel bias. It does naturally.
so let's go back to when we're talking about wheeling. Now,
Yeah.
I notice when the engine's on, it creates way more wheel spin.
Now, when the engine's on, it does what?
When the engine is on, it creates way more wheel spin at the front wheels because it does drive the front wheels. I know everyone keeps saying this is another thing that everyone's not understanding as well is everyone's saying that it only drives the front wheels above 70 kilometers an hour in the right scenario. That's bullshit. So it will do it in sport mode. It will do it if you put the car in sand mode and you literally put the SOC to say 70% and your SOC's, your actual state of charge is at 60 and you're turning it up to 70, say, to charge it,
Yeah.
it will give you constant drive to the front wheels when you're accelerating.
But isn't it a fixed speed? So it obviously can't apply drive at low speed. There's nothing to slip on between.
It does.
It does. Because my next question was, I can't prove this, but obviously when you're in HEV mode and you're driving, have you noticed? I thought they programmed in it's simulating the engine revs to match your speed. So if you speed up, it's revving the engine to match. And then when you put your foot on the brake to slow down, the revs of the engine drops with it, almost like you're driving directly from the front wheels. And I thought to myself, if they've actually somehow done that, that actually means we're getting a very small level of compression braking going downhill of the front axle because it follows the same speed of the vehicle. I couldn't see a logic where it's actually connecting to the front axle at slow speeds. I just don't think there's enough. It's too slow for it to match up with the motor unless there is something unless the clutch is literally chugging away, which I doubt they would do that. It wouldn't exist after that.
I guess it depends on what speed you're going at, but like obviously from a dead stop it doesn't. But I definitely get more wheel spin with the engine on and when the battery is in charging, like so when it's trying to charge. So definitely get more wheel spin, 100%.
We need to access a sensor or something to see this.
Yeah, because
to figure this data out.
Yeah, like I notice it in the wet and everything as well, just driving around town. It pulls so much harder when the engine's on. So
it definitely pulls harder when it's on. I agree. It's almost like you feel it. It's like a turbo lag almost.
Yeah, it just comes on.
It just comes on, and then you're back in the seat. Like you get the initial pull, and then it's just an extra pull. It's weird. But I agree. There definitely some science behind when you're in HEV. It's got more power. I actually wonder if it's 321 combined power is actually inclusive of the front motor.
I want to get it on dyno.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Come on, man. That's your domain. Get it on the dyno.
Oh, no, I got to get on the dyno. So, yeah, I do want to get on the dyno. But from my testing, 100%, and like I drive the car when I'm racing people. So if anyone's raced me, I've probably raced you in sand mode because sand mode and the battery's like trying to charge. That's when you've got ultimate power. It hauls ass. So, whereas when you do it in sport mode, you hold it flat. That's why everyone says it doesn't come on till 70, because if you're at the traffic light, you flog it. By the time the engine switches on and actually starts pulling and you feel the pull, it doesn't hit till about 70 k's an hour. However, if you do it in sand mode and the engine's already running at the traffic light, as soon as you hit it, it just launches. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I've had a bit of fun with sand mode on the road. It is different. It's different. It's like the logic is a little bit more open on the throttle. Anyway, what other things are there that's... Well, I'm just trying to think of all the people, what they've been asking or what they've been trying to decredit on the Shark that I feel like you or me can provide insight into, but I don't really think there's much else. I mean, biggest weakness right now is just big verticals and the electronics.
But saying that, you know these verticals that everyone's saying it can't get up? I'd like to see all the people that have said, oh, my Camry can do that, my blah, blah, blah can do that, my Corolla could do that. Anyway, so I reckon half these people couldn't even walk it, like, let alone drive it. And they're always like, but they don't realize how big these verticals are. And I mean, I know the BYD Shark didn't get very high, and it didn't get to the bit that was, 49 degrees. However, I possibly reckon we can get further. I don't know
Yeah.
how much further, but I personally don't think it'll ever get to the top in its at the moment with what it's got, unless there's some magical software update they come with that gives you more drive. I just don't think it'll get to the top. That top section is nuts. So yeah, like we're definitely going to find the limit of the vehicle when you do come, and we will get. I reckon we will get further because you are running ATs, and I think if we put all our heads together, we'll be able to come up with something and figure out how to get it further, and I guess show everyone that it can, get to a decent point on the hill. But like most four-wheel drives don't make it to the top. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm evident to that fact. It's I don't know. Maybe it's just triggering me being all the way down here, watching someone that I do watch a lot four-wheel drive get into it and be a little bit puzzled. Like you don't see Mad Max ever. Hang on a second. I don't know what the next thing to do is here. Normally he's always got an answer, a logical answer, and he didn't. And that's kind of done my own trigger, and I'm just like, I can't now not do anything. I need to do another step now, and that's me going, I'll see you next week, Byron, at the hill. So
we'll be there. I mean, like, just it'll be fun. It's a cool hill. I actually really like the hill. There's some other climbs out there, like on the trip hills and that I don't like because they throw you on crazy angles. Where I've nearly rolled my Tank 300 there before. When it snapped the rear portal axle. But like Beer O'Clock Hill, I mean, I don't find it that scary. It looks scary to look at. It's steep. Like you get to the bottom and you look up, it's like, holy shit! Like, what am I even doing here? But a lot of people have watched on TV, and everyone that goes there that's watched on TV, even like full drivers, go there and they're like, okay, this is not what I thought it was. So
second thinking their guess. I can't drive 1800 Ks and not do it. So I won't have that reaction.
Oh, you'll do it. 100% you're going to do it. So, but the other interesting thing is we're getting the PHEV Alpha.
Yeah.
I wish it was there in time, but it's not going to be. I think it's not going to. It's going to be like 4 or 5 weeks away at the moment.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we can get that up there because that'll be another interesting vehicle. I mean, that's got your twin lock and low range. However, I have spoken to Simon from 4Drive TV. He's already driven it, and he said he did put it up against a rock ledge, and he said it had the same thing. You went flat, and it just went.
That doesn't make sense to me though, because
I know.
I'm seeing those vehicles as conventional four-wheel drives with somewhere in the line the electric motors getting added in. That's it. So does that mean that that brings so many questions? So I'm curious to see how that develops in, because I do have an expectation for those vehicles.
I had an expectation for the Alpha, and I've always said this, like whenever I've spoken about it, when people ask me, what should I buy, the PHEV Alpha or the BYD Shark? And I say, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to go want to climb Beer O'Clock Hill? No, never. Wouldn't even think about it. No way I'm going to put my $60,000 car up something like that. Cool. Probably get the Shark.
Yeah.
Then I always say to them, get the Alpha because you're going to be able to do those sort of things. So we're going to find out anyway, sooner or later. But I mean, Tank 500, the HEV, has already been up Beer O'Clock Hill. Like,
you're talking about
like
that before,
it. I mean, so I don't see why we can't get the PHEV up there. And I mean, this is just going by Simon, what he told me from 4Drive TV briefly. But I haven't driven it myself, so I'll find out when I get it. So, but it'd be interesting because if we do run into the same situation where you sort of get to a cliff face and it just loses power,
Why do you think it's done like that? Why do you, if we're not talking about, it's not a reduction gear problem, it's actually the computer saying pull the power back. Why do you think it's like that?
No.
What's that?
I said computer says no.
No, yeah. Well,
I don't know. Like it could be. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I asked you this. So, that adventure that we run on our channel that I make everyone look bad in.
Yeah.
That thing, okay, when it comes out of factory, it's got torque management in the gearbox, right? Well, gearbox and the engine to prevent you from shifting gears when there's high torque demand. So it pulls the torque back between gear shifts, okay? Now, you would think that's as much as the engine's got, and that's as much as it's going to give. 15 years on, when everyone's figured out how to tune these things, I go and pull the torque management out completely, not caring about if I blow the gearbox or whatever, and the power difference is insane just removing torque management. So I actually do wonder if we can be fooled like that in that kind of process, and then realize that later, 15 years later, is something else going on here that really simply is a switch, software, a tune in the software where it can go lower the parameters down of anti-abuse, because that's what it is. It's an anti-abuse. It's to stop everyone doing burnouts in it, and then warranty claims being done for a GMH. But I wonder if there's an anti-abuse in the car while the car's still new in the market. They don't want people. They don't want, like, how bad would it be if I went out and I'm like, yes, this power, and I did CVs? People would just carry on about all the bad things, right? I wonder if there's like an anti-abuse ultimately. And
I reckon, you know what, saying that, like, I actually think that might be, yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I've watched heaps of the Denza B5 that's coming to Australia. In China, I watch Julian all the time, and yeah, like, they do fry the tires a lot more than what the BYD Shark will.
Don't they come with violet mode? I've already got my number plates for the Denza B5.
What's that?
I already bought them. I'm buying the car. Yeah. Because it's a oh shit, wrong plate.
I got a bit of a controversial plate, so I'm not going to mention my plate.
So
anyway.
it's a proper four-wheel drive, right? So yeah, I probably went a little bit early on buying all this stuff when I first found out about all this happening. So I've got all this stuff. I've got this vision of what's going to happen. It won't happen the way I see it though. But I'm bloody excited. I'm glad I'm at this point in my life where I have accessibility to this. If it's been 10 years earlier, I wouldn't have had the money. If it'd been 10 years later, I probably would have said I'm too old to even think about doing this type of stuff. So it's just perfect for me. It's going to be so good, man. I'm so excited for all this stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, hopefully we can help people along the way and give people a little bit of confidence, I guess. When people ask me whether they should buy it, I just ask them a simple question. Are you towing every weekend? No. Okay. Are you towing every month? No. Okay. Are you just asking the basic questions. You qualify them pretty much for the car. And if they're not doing it, and they're not going to go up Bureau Clock Hill and do anything more than, like, say, a 25-degree hill. Yeah. Like, I got mates that go out all the time, even staff that work for me. They've bought their first full drive and they've gone up full driving and they've gone to me, this hill's insane. And they go out like every weekend with the Tank Queensland Club. And they go, it's insane. And I go, they're like, oh, we didn't go up it. And I said, why not? And they said, oh, it's just too crazy. Anyway, and one of the boys that comes out with us, Greg, he took his Tank 300 up at first go. And he was like, that was nothing. And he's been up Bureau Clock with me. Like, I was in the car navigating up Bureau Clock Hill. But that just puts it in perspective of, like, where everyone thinks, you know what I mean? Like, when they first go really think something that's, to us is probably, a mediocre hill. Yeah, it's nothing. To them, it's like, I'm never taking my car up that. So,
So obviously you're not very familiar with what I do down here in Victoria. I actually, we actually invite, like, people that have never really four-wheel drive properly out in their family four-wheel drive, and we take them out to a training park here where it's fully cross-axle. So you've got moguls the whole way up, and they're saying there's no way they'll be able to do that. And we kind of show them how the traction control that comes standing in their car can let them do this with ease. So they first look at it and they're like, no, we walk the hill, and like, no way. There's no way we're going to be able to do this. And they feel reserved about the day. Like, what have I got myself into? But then we get one of our crew members to go up in a pretty standard looking vehicle, and then their cogs, you just see them. It changes. And then before you know it, when they're nervous sometimes, the first tilt angle that they experience, they start shaking a little bit when they're stopped. We get that a lot. But after about 5-10 minutes, because we explain to them what's actually going to happen, what the car's going to do, and what we're going to ask the car to do, and that when they understand what's going to happen, they seem to be able to process the inputs better. When they finally get through the other side, you should see them, man. They're like, I can't believe it. I would have never, ever even tried that in my car. And the car really did it pretty easily. The difficult challenge was the driver, not necessarily the cars that come standard these days. So I know what you're saying about how we look at something and we're like, yeah, that's all right. And then old mate over there looks at something who doesn't really forward drive and goes, no way.
Yeah.
It is funny.
So, I think it's a brilliant car still. Like, would I change it? Out of like all my vehicles that I own, I really enjoy driving it. I mean, I'm sure you do. Like, besides the issues with you having full driving in certain scenarios, but like, do you like your car?
Yeah, there's no issues. Like, I wouldn't call them issues. Issues is the wrong word. I love the Shark. No, I'm not a fanboy that is only going to give positive things about it. There are definitely limitations, and there are some things I'm disappointed about. But if you look at the reasoning to why we're having those problems, I think it's about the fact we've got to realise it is the first car of its kind in Australia.
Yeah.
And
you know what
I don't even know why BYD brought it here, because we're one of the biggest countries to criticise it so hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird country to pick. Someone from BYD actually said to me that they almost weren't going to. I think they came to Brisbane first or something, and then when they found out about our ute percentage to market or whatever it was like it had to happen type thing. So that is interesting, but I would still buy it. Like, if knowing everything, experiencing everything, if I had a button to go, I'm going to go back to October 29 on launch night, would I still have put my deposit down? 100%. No doubt. No doubt.
Now, and I saw on the forums today on the Facebook page, you said that your average fuel economy when your engine's constantly running is at 14 litres at 110. Is that what you said?
Yeah, but I'm not complaining about the economy, let's be clear. I'm complaining about something else.
No. But what I'm asking you is, I'm just, like, because I've paid attention to my fuel economy when the engine's on, because I run my engine, when I'm not charging at work and I'm on the weekends, I run my engine. I don't care, and I love horsepower. But there's been times where I've just sort of sat it at 100, reset the last 50k average, and just seen where it gets to at the end of the 100-kilometer run, right? And mine doesn't get that high. So I'm interested about that. That's why, because mine has obviously a lot more gear than yours. I also was running bigger tyre, well, actually similar tyres now. But yeah, it sort of sits at around, I think the worst I've seen it at 110 is probably like 13.4 or 13.2. And that's just, like, that's with all my gear on the back. I've got a rooftop tent and everything. So I'm a bit like, I don't know, like, I don't know if you...
I know what it is. It's your roof rack. It's better than the Rhino rack.
That's what it is.
The dynamic, the aero is
that only went on today. Yesterday. That only just went on. No, it's not that. But I actually was thinking that. Is it the platform causing a litre of resistance? Because, honestly, even in my Tank 500, fuel consumption economy is through the roof. In comparison of my Tank 500 and my BYD Shark, the fuel economy in the BYD Shark feels like I'm driving like a Prius. Like, it's literally like really, really economical in comparison to the Tank 500.
Oh, this is easy to figure out. You've just got to send me down one of your roof racks. I'll swap them over and then I'll give you the results.
Yeah, no. Let's do that.
Yeah, look, it's it's interesting. It came up in conversation with someone by random, because I talk to a lot of random different people, and I just thought to myself, hang on a second, because I haven't paid any attention to the fuel economy really, but I just thought, hang on, there was a couple of times when I was at the server and I'm like, why am I putting in 54 litres? I've only done, 220 Ks. This does not compute to me. So, and you know what? I just go, I don't care. I just keep driving. I'm the type of person, if I'm going wheeling or traveling, I really don't care about fuel. I really don't. And what I do care about is I hate driving around town and going, I've got an empty tank of fuel again. I've got to put more fuel in. When I'm driving around on Monday to Friday. That's why the fact I can plug in at home, I can plug in at work, I can plug in at my friend's place when he's not looking, I'm happy. Like, I've always got, and it has changed the way sometimes I plan my day. Like now I'll go, I know where there's a charger, so I'm going to go there, plug in, I'm going to go inside and have lunch. It's changed the way that I'm now running myself during the week.
So you do use charging stations a fair bit? Because I don't. I use only at my work and at my home. We've got 7 kilowatt here and 7 kilowatt at work. I only use that.
Yeah, I frequent Chadstone, the fashion capital down here in Melbourne. Good parking, right. Fast charging, and one thing I don't like though is when I am shopping and then I realise I'm full because Shark's obviously 55 kilowatts, so it fills that in 20 minutes. I'm shopping and I get stuck doing something, and then I get the idle fees. I've had a time where it cost me more in idle fees than it did to charge the Shark. I should have not.
No way.
Yeah. It was like it's like $1 a minute. A minute. So you get 30 minutes. It's like, yep, you're now idling. So if you don't move your car in 30 minutes, we're charging you $1 a minute. So 60 minutes will be $60 in Chadstone, 100%.
And how much do you pay per kilowatt hour there?
It varies. It seems like 7 kilowatt charging's like 30 cents, and fast charging is like upwards of nearly 60 cents per kilowatt hour. So it just depends. But yeah, in a sense, I worked out 60 cents. Anything over 45 cents isn't really. You're better off on petrol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I found.
Yeah.
So like that's why I try. I mean, the only time, you just might as well get petrol. That's why I sort of just charge at home, and then if I am low, I just run it in sand mode, and it uses a lot more fuel, but it will charge because you can sit it just idling there at 7 kilowatt, and it'll charge at 7 kilowatt with sand mode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People think that you can't, but you definitely can.
You definitely can. No, you definitely can.
Another thing with that sand mode, sorry, cut you off, but another thing with sand mode compared to a conventional four-wheel drive is in a conventional four-wheel drive, you would sort of never put your car into these modes because you'd activate your center lock, right?
Yeah.
You center, and then you would cause issues, right? Whereas in this, you don't have any of those issues.
No, there's no physical mechanical limitation. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just nothing binds up. Yeah, it's happy. So that's it's probably not safe to run it in sand mode because it switches everything off, but I do it at times because I'm locked out.
Like when you drive off the highway to go down into a grass patch to test it. When I saw your video the first day you got it, I'm like, oh really? Well, why? And then you carried that bit of grass in the back for a whole week. Was it a week?
Yeah, because I was too busy. I was doing R&D, and like everyone kept going, "Oh, you need to pull the grass out." I'm like, "Man, that's least." My wife lost it. She's like, "You need to get rid of the grass," and I'm like, "I don't care. It doesn't bother me." Anyway, that grass hill is really steep. It is actually really steep.
I'll be honest. I did yell at the screen. I'm like, dude, that's not even a real hill. What are you doing? I did say that. I'll admit to that. And I'm like, what's going on here? This guy's giving us odd content. Go to a real park. You've got a shark. One of the first ones almost, I think, that I remember seeing on YouTube.
I was bored.
I do that too. Don't worry. But anyway, we've all seen the video. I'll play it anyway because what will be interesting, which YouTube? Can you see that?
I can.
I don't know if you'll get audio, but I don't know if you need audio because you've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What is it? Beer o'clock. Beer
o'clock, and just put in BYD. It'll come up. It'll be the first one.
Yeah, didn't even spell shark, right?
Still straight. Will it be straight after this?
I don't know if this
BYD
audio
Shark. Beer o'clock hill. Let's go.
What the hell? Hang on. Is there no, it's only it's only got 3K views, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I would have thought this thing would be
all electric. So the rear end is.
Is that you calling or?
There's no tail shaft. There's no gear.
It's gone now. All right.
What's going on?
Similar suspension to
Something was calling. Someone on Messenger. It's all good.
All right, hang on.
Still straight. Will it be straight after this? BYD Shark. Vera Cockhill, let's go.
So
yeah,
I'll just turn this down because we don't really need to hear this. And if you guys want to actually, if you haven't seen this, go and check it out. Just search Fear O'Clock Hill, BYD Shark, and you'll see it. Can you explain to me, like, what type of angles, like, what do you, like, to me, this just doesn't look that bad. I know it is bad because I do a lot of filming, but
That's it, sure she wrote.
what do you think's actually happening here? Like, given that you've driven the Shark, give me an idea.
So that where the ARB sign is not very steep, but there are some decent ruts there.
Yeah.
That it's obviously struggling to get up over.
All due respect to that, this is his first.
I would say I don't know, can't remember off the top of my head, but it's roughly, let's say 25 degrees, sort of where it's sort of getting to that ARB sign. It would be sort of 25.
So
and then it.
Just pausing here. These, if I'm in these ruts here, am I pretty much almost contacting underneath?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the one
100%.
up here at the superior engineering sign, that's a hole. That's, you fall in that and that's it.
Yeah, and then you see that left wheel over there, like where you're pointing up near the superior engineering sign. I mean, this changes all the time.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand the track's dynamic, but
Well, the left there, that's a big hole. So what I've done a couple of times when I've went there is I've snuck around the right-hand side up here, a bit further up.
yeah,
And that's how I got up. But then the last time I went up, because it had changed again in the Tank 500, I couldn't sneak right and I had to go left on the bank. But you get really, really, really cozy with the bank. So, like, obviously with a brand new car. And then the other thing is because you've got more front bias on this, it sort of spits you left and right. So it's pretty hard because you've got not much rear drive. So it's pretty hard trying to control it from getting your front right and left quad panel damage. So, yeah.
okay.
But we'll see. So
What do you take of his? Do you think it's just the tires the reason why he's on his acceleration he's just getting this movement rather than a grab movement? Because obviously the highway trains, they haven't got things to grip onto to go forward.
There's literally no traction on those tires. So you got to remember those tires are also designed for EV. Yeah. So they're more like definitely more of a road tire than you get on your traditional other EV, like a Toyota Prado, say, or a Ranger. These tires are, I don't even know. Actually, have you checked them? I'm pretty sure they are more of an EV tire.
I didn't look at them all too much, but I only use them in the desert. I only use them in the sand, and then before my high country trip, I didn't even attempt to go out without all terrains. And I also wanted the clearance, but what was I going to say? The weight ratings. I've noticed your options are small for the Shark for weight ratings to meet the criteria. So you pretty much definitely have to be on light truck tires to even be a potential. But yeah, there's plenty of options anyway. What I see, this is the part that was interesting to me because I remember him saying he's not really sure. Like he just looks not sure. Like this is a guy that's he's driven this hill. So why, he's more engrossed in what to do on the car. He's looking at this area here that has absolutely zero effect on what's going to happen up there.
And they both are, because you got to remember these guys are used to driving old school cars. So
yeah. And the tires, look at the tires. They're chockers.
They're choked up with a lot of mud,
So that's another good point. With no wheel spin, where's our mud ejection? Where's our lug ejection? Where's that science gone? Oh. So that's what I mean. That's tires. So that's not car. It with good deflation and good tires. In theory, that should get above that. And I don't know why I didn't notice if I watched this last night, but he actually made a good attempt there. He actually gave that a run, which is what I will do. And rather than be able to jump and get on and continue driving, sideways, and on the brake. Which brings us to our next point. One good plus about the Shark, the low center of gravity. Have you noticed that? Because the battery's at the bottom, you don't feel this woeful movement. It's so good. It reminds me of the Adventurer, that limited left and right.
So Ruben from DMW snapped his factory drive shaft right where he is in the wet. So he got a run up and it's bumped over that right-hand side where he's hit that bank and slid left. He's actually snapped a Tank 300 drive shaft, I'm pretty sure. When he's hit that, it's launched it and then landed and sort of bound up and then spat the CV shaft. But there is a bump there as well, so that's why it is pushing him to the left. But it's the tires. Like even now, after doing all that, I think the tires are still like the rears are all right, but they don't get much drive. So you're relying solely on the front. So, and you got to remember the whole hill is steep, so it's putting all the weight on the rear wheels, and you're relying on your front to get traction, but your front's sort of wanting to lift up. Like there's cars that do backflips off this hill.
I've seen that. That's scary.
So but I mean he's not at that point yet. But like, so he got to what? Say the ARB. That's it. Yeah.
It looks like I think he momentarily got a little bit further, but so my goal is just to get the rear end past the ARB side.
No, I reckon we'll get it past. Let's say past the rear end, past the superior side.
Right here, if you watch, you can kind of if anyone's watching and you do content creation off road, there is a moment here where you can actually see how vertical this is, and the camera kind of can show it if you can read the camera right here. We'd all be very familiar with this as creators. If you know that angle there, that's reasonably steep right there before it levels out a bit right here, I think.
Yeah, correct. So,
but yeah, I can see it. Like that down angle there is.
I reckon we should be able to get at least the rear door to sort of that in line with that superior easy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, see right then and there, where you look at the front wheel. So the right here, where the wheel's spinning, I would tap the brakes now, you see? And that would actually keep that wheel spinning there before it backed right off.
Yep.
Wouldn't have helped. I don't think it would have helped Matt with the road terrains or highway terrains or whatever. But with good deflated off-road tyres, might make a difference. And it's that motion you need to get past the next step to give you a chance to keep going forward.
Yep.
Who's behind the camera? Lucas, isn't it?
That's Lucas filming,
Yeah. I remember listening to their conversation. they're just not sure. And normally he's got some commentary about what he could do or what's going to go wrong, but nothing.
Yeah.
Right. See that again? I reckon there.
Yeah.
If he had a tap brake and keep driving into that there's definitely something going on here that I need to do another video after I've tried this to tell people how wrong I was though. It's so easy. Look, guys, it's so easy to criticize someone behind a screen, and say this is what you should do, and this is what you didn't do right. But I'm not criticizing Matt or anything in this video. I want to be clear with that. It's just I want to share my understanding of the Shark being off-road, 5,000 Ks already in this car, and try and see if we can kind of spread the info. Because that's what we're just trying to do. We're trying to get the info out, the correct, accurate info. And I was talking to Matt about this, and I actually asked him, I said to him, how do you feel about me breaking this down in what I think is going on? Do you have any input into anything so far in this?
I think it's brave of him to take it up there with highway terrain tyres, because I know the vehicle and I know the hill, and I knew straight away that you're going to run out of traction like that, which he did. Like, it'll just sit there and spin. It's a really heavy car.
Yeah.
And with front wheel bias, and if you're trying to claw up, you're asking for traction, trying to claw, and the front's lifting up. Yeah, you're not going to get very far. And I mean, you see him even just sliding back there. Look
just
at the
there,
front end, like
just there. Yeah. You can see it. And whenever you're in an off-road vehicle and it does this, that should indicate how steep it is. He's on the brakes.
Yeah.
It's pulling him down.
Yeah. So it is a steep bit, but saying that depending on what, yes.
Trying to do the correction.
Yeah, so that was just like front wheel drive bias then, and you see where it torque steered into the side. But like, look at this. He's trying to find traction. He's trying to find a different line, but it just sits there. It just can't. It just doesn't grip. It just can't. I mean, you see both front, left, and rear. Both passenger front and rear was just spinning both ends at the same time and just sits there and spins. So, I mean, I don't know if you could like do a little bit more of a bump here, like start a little bit further back, maybe another meter back and give it a little bump over that. I'm not sure, but we'll see how strong they are, the CV shafts. But I've seen many Denza B5 snap shafts over in China.
Yeah,
Heaps.
okay. That'd be to do with the software allowing the power, and that's what we're asking for. So
and they're locked. Well, remember that.
Yeah,
so
adds another level of
Yeah. So anyway, but we'll find out. So we can start making. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'll go this weekend.
I don't know. I keep thinking to myself, why do I
go? I'll wait for you.
What's
so
that?
What day do you come?
So I'm leaving. I can arrive. My thing is, I don't think I should be there on the weekend, but I know that's probably going to be the most logical time to be there, right? Because you can't be there midweek, can you? Weekend.
We could organise it through Lucas. I could have a chat to Lucas.
Yeah, I messaged them just to get an idea. But since you're better connected, if you want to set something up, you tell me when you want to set. All right. I just have to leave sometime next week.
Because the problem is, so sometime next week.
Yeah.
Well, what's the date? So today's the 26th. So I think I've got full drive TV on the 9th, 10th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've got to go to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm in I'm in Coffs Harbour full driving.
Hang on, the 9th is. No, that's okay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then this weekend's the 29th, 30. The next weekend after this weekend's 5 and 6.
As long as it's next week, it's fine.
Yeah. So we'll leave. We could leave. So I could leave on the 2nd, so on the Wednesday, and I could be there, or even the Tuesday to make sure I'm there on the Friday.
Yeah.
We really need it.
If possible, we can go during midweek and see what we can do. But it is more fun when there's an audience there.
Nah, I don't know if that's a good idea for me. I have a reputation for, I don't know, someone will say something and things end badly on the like I have to then try and figure out a way around that. Like I'm reasonably sensible, but I have my limits, and then I have my friends that go, you would have done that in the other car or something, and then here's me reversing. That's actually how I damaged the rear bar on the Shark. So could have been avoided, but yeah. But look, there we go. Yeah, look, let me know. I can leave, anytime next week, really. Not Monday, Tuesday onwards, I can leave.
Okay, sweet.
And 2.5 days. Like, we can sprint it, but there's no point. Like, it's either 2.5 or 3 days. So we might as well just say 3 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, okay. I should be free, so that'll be fine. I'll speak to Lucas and see what he can organise.
Tee it up, mate. And we'll catch up. And look, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I mean, I only thought about this because I thought, what better way to break down the Shark than the two people which I see in comments most often? It's either All Terrain Action EV or SAVAGETECH Australia. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
And I mean, so far I'm not feeling like we disagree on much, but it is interesting. I do want to break down a few other things when we catch up, because it will be interesting. Like, I want to jump in your passenger seat and see how you drive it, because I just wonder, is there something else going on here? Because at the start I was copying a lot of crap because I wasn't trying to send it. I was trying to bring the exploits out. And the people. This guy doesn't know how to drive. He doesn't know, why is he getting on the brakes? I'm not on the brakes. My foot's on the ground, guys.
You're Asian.
I know. So just imagine the Commodore in the Victorian High Country, in the most ridiculous place, and I'm in the Commodore, and I'm there. What? Yeah, it's an interesting outlook.
Man, like, honestly,
For all of us, we're learning the car, so it's as simple as that. Like, it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter who it is. We're all jumping in a brand new car that, you know, none of us have really driven. The closest thing I've got to driving it is my HEV cars, and I've done wheeling relying on the traction control in the Tank 500, and it's really capable. And I've said that to you in high range, in auto mode in that car, Tank 500, with no lockers, is really, really capable. It's ridiculous. But yeah, the BYD is different again. Even though that's a HEV, this is a PHEV, but this is electric motors versus, you know, you've still got drive from a combustion. So, and you've got transfer case, you've got everything. So you've got gearbox.
Yeah.
So it's a very different vehicle. So for all of us, it's a learning. It's like driving an RC car, a brushless RC car. It's weird. It's
Interesting concept. I wouldn't have picked that.
I love it. I absolutely love my Shark. Like, and I just, I don't think that you said there's a few things you dislike about it. I really actually really like it.
Just love everything.
There's other vehicles that I've owned, like other Chinese vehicles. Starts with an L. I didn't post any videos about it because I hated it. Like, I did not like it as a vehicle. And the cannons and that, they're fairly capable online off-road. I did find their limitations pretty quick. The torque on demand overheats pretty quickly when you're asking it to do things. So we actually developed a module to so you don't get that. It just locks off completely, so it doesn't overheat. So it doesn't allow slip. So now you turn it off, the TOD module gets switched off, and it's just like on.
Yeah. And then
It's clamped fully, and then you can climb. You don't get any overheating issues.
yeah.
So, but electronics is, electronics with the right software, I think you can do a lot with electronics and the right knowledge, I guess. I think it's the knowledge. We've all got to learn about these cars, so we'll slowly learn.
We will.
This is the first mission, so.
By trial and error.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, hands off to them. This is their first ute, right?
I keep saying.
Like, this is their first ute, and look where they are.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Everyone ignores that statement. It's like, no, they've been making these overseas. It's like the ute guys, utility, Australia, F-150 size ute with all this tech, which, I mean, it's not surprising, the tech, but it's really functional. Even if you look, like, I've actually been delved down into that 12 volt a little bit last weekend when I was asking you about running cables. And I was able to, I hooked in an air compressor onto that line while the car was on, and it was happy. It ran that 80 amps. It didn't care. It just kept running it. So I haven't done that video yet. I will do that video, but there is definitely a lot that we can break down and share so the car can become more usable. And yeah, probably the need for a second battery system is null and void at this point, almost, I'm thinking. With what's available, it's just winch questions.
So you loaded it, sweet, loved it?
What's that?
So you loaded the battery and it was sweet?
I looked at the converter in it, and it has AC in, 220 amps at 13.8 out, and that runs back to the bus bar that goes onto that battery, that little battery. So presumably, and when I had the scan gauge connected, I noticed whenever the car was in its on state, it was reading 13.8. When you turn the car off, it still says 13.8, but look at it like 15 minutes later, it's down to 12.9, 12.8. So it does turn off the conversion when the car's like goes into like a sleep mode.
Yep.
Probably when, the issue comes up where you can't talk to the car through the SIM card. It goes to sleep and it just comes off the app with the bug at the moment. I think when it does that, it's isolating the actual SIM, the SIM controller that's powering. I reckon that's part of the live circuit, and I think it's getting cut off when it goes to sleep. So, but yeah, like it's pumping that that current out. So it's a matter of, and I don't know, there's like other things you got to look at. It's one thing to be able to pump it out, but is there like a duty cycle? Can it not provide that much current for X amount of, like, for 7 minutes at a time before the temperature get, so many questions, like air compressors. Unless you get 100% duty cycle one, you can't run it non-stop. But those are the things I'm trying to figure out. There's a lot that I know and have tested, but I'm not 100% certain about duty cycle, and reason why I haven't actually made a video about it. Because there's nothing worse than me going, yeah, you can run 200 amps off that thing non-stop. Everyone starts hooking it up, and then things go sideways. Yep. So I try and test things right out before I, share it pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, I've got a 240 compressor that arrived last week that we're trying to set up to have pretty much like panels on your side, so you'll be able to run. It'll be incorporated with a 240 volt compressor on the right hand side.
Yeah.
And it's like 280 liters a minute, so it's a high output, not just high pressure, high volume compressor. So, and it's oil free. So yeah, that'll plug into the PowerPoint, and it'll be full mounted on the side with the bracketry and everything. So I'm working on that at the moment, but yeah, it just means you'll be able to run a 240 volt compressor instead of the 12 volt, and like it is, I think they are more reliable.
Well, 240 is more like, the high voltage is always more efficient.
Correct.
At the end of the day. So yeah, it sounds like I might have a lot of Savage gear on my car within 6 months.
Who knows? We'll see. Who knows?
Who knows? All right. No worries, man. Well, look, I appreciate you jumping on.
Cheers. It's only like 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock there, isn't it?
Yeah, 11. Yeah, 20 to 11. I got home, I had dinner, and then I said to the wife, I've got to go back to the office to do a video. She's like, wouldn't you just do it from here? I go, no, with someone else. And there's so much going on at home. We wouldn't have got, like, I would have had distractions nonstop. If I
haven't even had dinner, so as soon as after this, I got some rice down and put some tuna with it, and have tuna and rice, mate.
I hope you're not like me. I do the whole tuna can and microwave rice. The 1 minute, 1.5 minute microwave rice.
Good, she cooks me the rice, and then I just make the tuna.
Yeah. Nah, that's cool, dude. Well, hopefully we'll catch up next week. And
yeah, sweet. Okay. Sounds good. And apparently there's floods inland, so I have to go around Pacific. Google says there's floods inland. Can't go that way. That's interesting. Is your shark scared of the water?
Yeah, I'm a Victorian. I'm not familiar with your flooding issues up that way. All right, guys. No worries. I'll catch you later. And don't forget, I mean, I'm sure you've met Byron before, but if you haven't, SAVAGETECH Australia. We'll chuck everyone's links in the description.
Yeah, sweet as. And
check it out. But yeah, I reckon you'll be getting more collaborations going forward. I think we're going to get into a lot of trouble. No worries.
See you, mate.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.